Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10. That's where we give you more news in less time. It is good to see you. I'm Laura Papetti. Mark has tonight off, so let's get started. And we begin with this. A Spokane family received the news that no parent can ever prepare for. Their 5-year-old little girl has terminal cancer, and there is nothing else doctors can do. The child has been getting treatment in Texas. However, now she wants to spend her final days surrounded by family here in Spokane. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk showing us how the Spokane community, and specifically one very generous pilot in Idaho, is making it happen.
Well, this little girl is too sick and fragile to fly commercially, navigating busy airports and layovers. A private jet, on the other hand, is very expensive. But thanks to a post from Rick Clark with Spokane Quarantine, and an Idaho pilot is stepping up free of charge to make this child's final days as comfortable as possible. Rick Clark and the Spokane Quarantine have helped a lot of people and businesses over the years, but the phone call he got today truly took his breath away.
People were like, Rick, I don't think we're going to pull this off. And then other people were like, of course, if anybody's going to do it, Spokane will do it.
That call came from staff of the American Childhood Cancer Organization of the Inland Northwest. It was about a 5-year-old girl they've helped since she was diagnosed with cancer a year and a half ago. She's undergone treatment in Spokane and Seattle. Today, doctors in Houston said there was nothing else they could do.
They've taken her off the chemo, so she has a very short window of time where she's going to feel good.
That little girl now wants to come home and spend her final days in a house instead of a hospital.
Ride in her dad's pickup and have snacks. You know, she wants to see her siblings. She wants to eat pizza.
So when I heard that, I lost it.
This afternoon, Rick made an urgent post to the 34,000 members of Spokane Quarantine, asking if anyone had a plane.
Within 70 minutes, we had multiple pilots with multiple personal planes reach out and say, where do you need me? I'm ready to go.
One of those pilots is Dennis Combs. He owns a car dealership in Boise and his own jet. No need to raise any money for fuel, Combs said. He's done 40 missions like this before.
Very soon, the cancer will take over and it'll hit her hard. And so she's got this tiny window that she can get home in.
The 5-year-old will be ready to fly back to Spokane on Friday to see her siblings, ride in her dad's truck, and of course, eat some pizza.
We're just trying to get her home because if she's going to go to heaven, we want her to be surrounded by her family.
And September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. The American Childhood Cancer Organization is hoping the community will also show support for the 93 children currently in active treatment for cancer at Sacred Heart. Staff told me if the community, we'll have more information on our website about that. In the newsroom, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
Kyle, thank you for that story. All right, let's take a break from the headlines right now. And let's take a moment, chat about weather as we head into the late evening hours. Jeremy, you were at Pig Out in the Park in Riverfront Park earlier, and so you know it was really warm late this afternoon and evening. So what can we expect?
You can expect to cool off a little more tonight, but get this, we officially topped out at 100 degrees today here in Spokane. Temperatures cooling nicely though, we're down in the 70s, pretty widespread. Still at 83 in Coeur d'Alene, 81 in Sandpoint, 76 in Ritzville. Basically where you saw some of that moisture cool you down, you're down in the 70s. Elsewhere, not so much the case. You can hear the air conditioner cranking. It's still hot enough that we need to do that. And with a little more moisture kind of moving out, we're going to hang on to a couple of these more sporadic showers through the remainder of the evening. And as those work their way out, clearing skies, drier air means temperatures drop. We fall into the low 60s tonight, and then tomorrow we crank right back up. Tomorrow a little bit cooler than today, but just barely. We start out in the 60s and we quickly climb up into the mid 90s. Coming up, we're talking the odds of getting back near 100 on Friday.
Now tonight, with a quick look at the day's top stories. East Valley High School brought in a crisis response team today to support students following a devastating crash involving two 17-year-olds yesterday morning. Two senior girls were on their way to the senior sunrise event before the first day of school when their SUV collided with a dump truck. Both girls were critically injured, and at this hour, we still have not received an update on their condition today. There has been some construction on Trent where the accident happened earlier this summer, but today the Washington State Patrol said that work had wrapped up and they are not treating the accident as a work zone collision. The investigation into what exactly happened is still underway. The Bonner County Sheriff's Office has arrested a serial arson suspect. They believe 23-year-old Ryan Green intentionally started wildfires in the Priest River area over the past 2 years. Green was arrested on multiple counts of arson as a result of a joint investigation by ATF, Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, and the Bonner County Sheriff's Office. Former Idaho State Representative Aaron Von Ellinger was sentenced to at least 8 years in prison. He was convicted of raping a 19-year-old intern. His total sentence is for 20 years with 8 years fixed. This means he will spend a minimum of 8 years behind bars. The former lawmaker maintained his innocence throughout the trial. However, a judge denied his request for a new trial. That was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text the word night to our text line 509-448-2000. We'll send those stories right to your phone. New York City's famed Times Square has now been designated a gun-free zone.
While the landscape may be changing when it comes to legal firearm possession in New York City, our goal is always to ensure public safety.
It is in response to the Supreme Court's ruling overturning the state's concealed carry law that made it difficult for most people to get legal permits to carry. A New York State gun law that takes effect tomorrow, it sets aside what's called sensitive areas where carrying a gun will be illegal. Times Square is not the only New York spot going gun-free. State leaders are banning guns in other areas designated as sensitive, including theaters, schools, and subway stations. Many of you may remember today marking 25 years since Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris. At the time, she was only 36 years old. For many people around the world, Diana was more than a royal. She became a force for good, using her famous name to support causes like AIDS awareness and clearing of landmines. Her story is also being told in the wildly popular TV show The Crown on Netflix. A quarter of a century after her death, Diana's sons, William and Harry, are still following in her footsteps, sharing their mother's spirit to keep her memory alive.
Diana's unique qualities were very much a humanitarian mission, a tactile nature, a care and consideration for others.
In 2008, a jury decided Princess Diana, along with her boyfriend, were killed in a car crash while trying to get away from the paparazzi. Well, one local thrift store is making a difference for teachers this school year. After receiving a donation, the store is offering free books for teachers up to the amount of $25. Now, that may not seem like a lot, but at Global Neighborhood, paperback books cost about $1. So that means a teacher could buy up to 25 books for a classroom. So if you are a teacher and want to take advantage, just make sure to bring your school ID. And in other news, despite the growing number of construction workers across the U.S., the Inland Northwest is struggling to keep up with building demands. To address this, the Associated General Contractors of America is hosting a fair to introduce the Trade Up to Construction initiative. The initiative is set to launch on September 5th and will showcase data outlining the critical shortage that we have here in construction work.
There's plenty of work for the industry to perform. Unfortunately, there aren't enough people to do the work or enough materials to complete some of those projects. Addressing labor shortages and supply chains will ensure that the construction industry can upgrade our infrastructure, modernize our manufacturing sector, and deliver a more reliable and a cleaner energy grid.
Although the number of construction workers keeps rising, companies are struggling to keep up with the booming construction projects emerging all across the Inland Northwest. Trade up, it's new. And that was KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed. After a break, we'll have an exclusive interview with the victims of a drive-by shooting near Chattaroy. What they shared, coming in 90 seconds.